The crystal towers of Valara Prime burned against the purple sky. Ambassador Nara pressed her translucent hand against the window of the command center and watched her world die. Below, the beautiful gardens that had taken 1,000 years to grow were nothing but ash and smoke. "How many ships do we have left?" she asked without turning around. Chief Communications Officer Tejo checked his display. His fingers shook as he read the numbers. 12 defense vessels, Ambassador. The Krex destroyed 43 ships in the last attack. Nara closed her eyes. The Vallani had never been warriors. They were builders, artists, and thinkers. Their ships carried science equipment, not weapons. When the Krex Empire arrived 6 months ago, the Vallani tried to talk. They offered to share their technology and knowledge. The Krex response was simple: total destruction. The evacuation ships? Nara asked. Most made it to the outer colonies, Tejo replied. But the Krex are hunting them down one by one. Our people have nowhere to run. The door slid open and Engineer Minho rushed in. His usual calm face showed pure panic. Ambassador, the Krex fleet is moving again. They have 50 dreadnoughts coming toward the planet. Our shields will not last another hour. Nara turned away from the window. The Vallani had ruled 12 star systems for 5,000 years. They had built wonders that made other species weep with joy. They had cured diseases and created art that touched the soul. In 6 months, the Krex had destroyed it all. There must be something we can do, she said. Some way to fight back. Minho shook his head. We tried everything, Ambassador. Our weapons barely scratch their armor. Their ships are built for war. Ours are not. Tejo suddenly looked up from his station. Wait, there is something. I found an old file in the communication archives. It talks about an emergency protocol from the ancient days. What kind of protocol? Nara asked. A distress frequency, Tejo explained. The file says it was used to contact a species called humans. They lived on a world called Earth in a distant galaxy. The file is very old, maybe 2,000 years. Minho frowned. Humans, I never heard of them. Are they still alive? The file does not say, Tejo admitted. But it gives coordinates and a frequency. The notes say humans were different from other species. They called their world a death world. Death world? Nara had never heard that term before. A planet so dangerous that most species could not survive there. Tejo read from the file. The humans evolved to fight and survive in conditions that would kill others. The file says they were warriors by nature. Nara felt a small spark of hope. Can we reach this frequency? Tejo checked his equipment. Not with our current power. The coordinates are too far away. We would need to boost our transmitter by at least 300%. Minho stepped forward. I might be able to do that. We have experimental quantum entanglement equipment in the research lab. If I can connect it to the main transmitter, we might reach that far. How long would it take? Nara asked. 20 minutes, maybe 30, Minho said. But using that much power will overload our systems. We can only send one message. Outside, the sky flashed red as Krex weapons hit their orbital defense stations. The building shook and dust fell from the ceiling. Do it, Nara ordered. Minho ran from the room. Tejo began preparing the communication system. Nara stared at the old file on the screen. The image showed a blue and green world with white clouds. Earth looked peaceful and beautiful. It was hard to believe such a lovely planet could be a death world. What should we say? Tejo asked. If these humans still exist, they do not know us. Why would they help strangers? Nara thought carefully. The Vallani were a logical people, but she had studied other species. Some responded to emotion better than facts. Ambassador, Minho's voice came through the communication system. The equipment is ready. But hurry, I can see Krex fighters approaching the building. Nara sat at the transmitter. She took a deep breath and began to speak. Unknown human vessels, this is Ambassador Nara of the Vallani Federation. We are dying. The Krex Empire has destroyed our fleets and conquered our worlds. They show no mercy to anyone. We are the last free species in this part of the galaxy. Our children are running with nowhere to hide. She paused as another explosion shook the building. Through the window, she could see Krex soldiers in the streets below. We do not know if you still exist. We do not know if you will receive this message. But if you do, please help us. We have done nothing wrong. We only wanted to live in peace. The Krex kill everyone. Our elderly, our young, everyone. They destroy our art and burn our libraries. They want to erase us from existence. The lights flickered as Minho pushed more power to the transmitter. We know you come from a death world. We know you are warriors. We are not. We never learned to fight because we never needed to. But maybe you understand what it means to protect those who cannot protect themselves. If there is any kindness in your hearts, if there is any justice in the universe, please come. Please help us." Tejo signaled that the message was ready to send. Nara looked at the blue world on the screen one more time. "This is our last hope. This is Valara Prime, coordinates attached. We will keep fighting as long as we can, but we will not last much longer, please. Help us." The message shot out into space, carried by quantum entanglement across impossible distances. The transmitter exploded in sparks and smoke. Emergency lights came on as the main power failed. "Did it work?" Nara asked. Tejo checked his backup systems. "The message sent, Ambassador, but I have no way to know if anyone received it." Through the window, they could see Krek's dropships landing in the city. "The enemy was here. Then we wait," Nara said quietly, "and we hope that somewhere in the darkness, someone is listening." Far away, beyond the edge of known space, Captain Daywan sat in the command chair of the patrol vessel Soul's Pride. His ship was small and old, assigned to watch the empty border regions where nothing ever happened. His communication officer suddenly looked up with surprise. "Captain, I am receiving a transmission, but the signal is coming from outside our galaxy." Daywan frowned. "That is impossible. Run a full scan." "Captain," the officer said slowly, "I think you need to hear this. Someone is asking for help." The emergency meeting room in Seoul Defense Command had never been so quiet. Admiral Kyung-ho looked at the faces around the table. Each person represented millions of human lives and hundreds of worlds. The decision they made today would change everything. "Play the message again," Admiral Kyung-ho said. Dr. Hana, the lead xenolinguist, activated the recording. Ambassador Nara's voice filled the room, speaking in a language no human had ever heard before. But the translation software had worked perfectly. The pain and desperation in the alien's voice needed no translation. "Analysis complete," Dr. Hana reported when the message ended. "The language structure suggests a highly advanced civilization. The speaker shows signs of extreme stress but maintains formal diplomatic protocols. This is not a hoax." Intelligence Officer Junho activated his holographic display. Images of star maps and alien technology appeared above the table. "We trace the signal to the Andromeda Spiral, approximately 2 million light-years from Earth. The quantum entanglement method used to send the message is more advanced than anything we have." Defense Minister Solby leaned forward. "Tell us about these Kreks." Junho changed the display. "Based on the message and our deep space sensors, the Kreks Empire controls roughly 300 star systems. Their technology appears focused entirely on military applications. Every ship we detected carries heavy weapons. No civilian vessels, no research ships, nothing but warships." "What about the Villani?" asked Admiral Kyung-ho. "Complete opposite," Junho replied. "Our sensors show beautiful cities, massive research facilities, and art installations visible from space. Their ships are fast but lightly armed. They appear to be a peaceful species focused on science and culture." Captain Sang-woo, veteran of the Martian colonial wars, spoke for the first time. The message mentioned that the Villani are the last free species in their region. "That means the Kreks have conquered others." "Genocide," Dr. Hana said quietly. "That is what we are looking at. Systematic extermination of entire civilizations." The room fell silent again. Every person there knew human history. They remembered the dark chapters when humans had done terrible things to each other. But they also remembered learning from those mistakes. "The question before us is simple," Admiral Kyung-ho said. "Do we have the right to interfere in conflicts between alien species we have never met? Do we have the right not to?" Solby shot back. "These Villani are asking for help. They are dying while we debate." Commander Do-hyun, who would lead any military response, looked at the star charts. "The logistics are enormous. Andromeda Spiral is beyond our normal supply lines. We would need to commit the entire 3rd Expeditionary Fleet and support vessels. That is 40% of our deep space navy." "What about first contact protocols?" asked Dr. Yujin, the xenobiologist. "This would be humanity's first meeting with alien intelligence. Starting with warfare seems wrong." Captain Sang-woo stood up. "Doctor, with respect, the first contact already happened. They called us. They asked for help. These Kreks are committing genocide, and we have the power to stop it." "But at what cost?" Commander Do-hyun asked. "We know nothing about alien military technology. Our ships might be helpless against theirs." Junho changed his display again. "Actually, we have some advantages. Our technology developed differently. Human ships are built to survive damage and keep fighting. Most species in that region appear to use energy shields and lightweight armor. Our kinetic weapons and heavy armor might surprise them. Solby pulled up economic reports. The resource cost would be significant but manageable. More importantly, Earth's colonies are asking what we plan to do. The news of alien contact has spread. People want to know if humanity will help or hide. Admiral Kyung-ho looked around the table. I want honest opinions. Captain Sang-woo. The older man did not hesitate. We spent 3 centuries learning to protect the innocent. We fought wars to stop dictators and genocidal maniacs. Now we have the chance to do it on a galactic scale. If we do nothing, we will regret it forever. Commander Do-hyun. The military challenges are severe but not impossible. If we commit fully and move fast, we can make a difference. Half measures will only get our people killed. Dr. Yujin. The xenobiologist looked troubled. First contact should be peaceful. But these Vellani are scientists and artists like many humans. If we can save them, maybe we can build something better than war. Dr. Hana. The Vellani message shows they understand concepts like mercy and justice. They are people we can work with. The Kreks appear to understand only force. Solby. The political implications are huge. If we succeed, humanity becomes a galactic power overnight. If we fail, we might face retaliation. But doing nothing while innocent people die is not an option. Admiral Kyung-ho nodded slowly. Junho, what is the current status of the Vellani? The intelligence officer checked his latest reports. Long-range sensors show active combat in 12 star systems. The Kreks are winning everywhere. At current rates, Vellani resistance will collapse within 2 weeks. That settles it, Admiral Kyung-ho said. We cannot reach them in time with normal preparations. Commander Do-hyun, how quickly can you mobilize the 3rd Fleet? Do-hyun calculated quickly. 72 hours for basic deployment. Another week to bring up full supplies and reinforcements. Do it. All leave is cancelled. Priority 1 mobilization. Dr. Yujin, prepare first contact protocols for battlefield conditions. Dr. Hana, work on improving our translation systems. Junho, I want detailed intelligence on Krek's military capabilities. Solby leaned back in her chair. What about public announcement? We tell the truth, Admiral Kyung-ho decided. Humanity received a call for help from an alien species facing genocide. We are responding. Keep it simple. Captain Sang-woo smiled for the first time. The politicians will have questions. Let them ask, Admiral Kyung-ho replied. But this is a military decision. An entire civilization is dying while we speak. We are going to save them. Dr. Yujin looked worried. Admiral, we have no idea what we are flying into. This could be the most dangerous mission in human history. Doctor, Admiral Kyung-ho said quietly. 3 days ago, humanity was alone in the universe. Today we learned there are others out there who need our help. Tomorrow we find out what kind of species we really are. The meeting broke up as officers hurried to their duties. Within an hour, alarms were sounding at military bases across human space. The largest fleet in human history began gathering at the jump point to Andromeda. On the bridge of his patrol ship, Captain Dae-won received new orders. The Soul's Pride would lead the advanced scouts to Vellani space. They would be the first humans to see an alien world. He looked at the stars and wondered what they would find there. War, certainly. Death, probably. But maybe, if they were lucky and brave and fast enough, they might also find hope. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Vellani territory. Captain Woo Jin stood on the bridge of the heavy cruiser Incheon's Hammer and stared at the display screens. What he saw made his blood run cold. My God, whispered his weapons officer. Dozens of ships burned in the darkness. The beautiful crystal vessels of the Vellani fleet were being torn apart by massive Kreks dreadnoughts. The alien warships looked like giant metal insects, all sharp angles and weapon ports. They moved through space like predators hunting prey. Communications, try to contact the Vellani fleet, Captain Woo Jin ordered. Working on it, sir, replied Communications Officer Min Seo. The translator is having trouble with combat chatter, but I think I have something. On the main screen, a Vellani face appeared. The being looked like living crystal, beautiful but terrified. Behind her, Woo Jin could see explosions and smoke. Unknown vessels, this is Commander Boram of the Vellani Defense Force. Please identify yourselves. Are you with the Kreks? Min Seo worked quickly to translate Woo Jin's response. Commander Boram, this is Captain Woo Jin of the human vessel Incheon's Hammer. We received your distress call. We are here to help. The Vellani commander's expression changed to amazement. Humans, you are real? We thought, we hoped, but we never believed anyone would come. We are real and we are here, Wu Jin replied. What is your tactical situation? Hopeless, Boram said with brutal honesty. The Kreks have 50 capital ships. We have 8 defenders left. They are destroying our evacuation vessels. Thousands of civilians are dying. On the display, Wu Jin watched a Krek's dreadnought fire on a defenseless transport ship. The vessel exploded in a ball of flame, taking hundreds of Vallani families with it. Not anymore, Wu Jin said grimly. All ships, this is Inchin's hammer. We have civilians under fire. Engage the enemy immediately. Admiral Do Hyun's voice came over the fleet channel. Captain, wait for the battle plan. Negative, Admiral. People are dying right now. Wu Jin turned to his crew. Helm, full speed ahead. Weapons, target the nearest Krek's dreadnought. Show them what human engineering can do. The Incheon's hammer accelerated toward the Krek's fleet. The human ship was smaller than the alien dreadnoughts but built like a fortress. Thick armor plating covered every surface. Multiple weapon systems gave it firepower from every angle. The Kreks noticed the approaching human vessels and turned to meet them. Energy beams lanced out, striking the human ships. The crews braced for destruction, but the human armor held. Scorch marks appeared on the hull, but no serious damage. Their weapons are powerful but designed for unarmored targets, reported the tactical officer. Our armor is absorbing most of the impact. Return fire, Wu Jin ordered. The human fleet opened up with kinetic weapons. Solid projectiles fired at incredible speed. The Kreks had never faced such weapons before. Their energy shields, designed to stop plasma and laser fire, were useless against chunks of metal moving at relativistic speeds. The first Krek's dreadnought shuddered as human shells punched through its hull. Explosions rippled along its length as internal systems failed. The massive ship began to list and burn. Impossible, Boram whispered from her ship. How are you doing this? The Krek ships are invincible. Not against us, Minseo translated Wu Jin's reply. Humans do not give up easily. Squadron leader Unha led a wing of human fighters into the battle. The small ships darted between the massive dreadnoughts like angry wasps. Human fighters were different from Vallani designs. They carried heavy weapons and armor, sacrificing speed for survival. This is Fighter Squadron 7, Unha reported. The Kreks fighters are fast but fragile. Their pilots seem confused by our tactics. The Kreks were used to fighting peaceful species. Their battles were usually one-sided massacres. They had never faced an enemy that fought back with such ferocity. A Krek's dreadnought targeted Yunha's fighter with its main guns. The blast damaged her engines and life support. Most pilots would retreat to safety. Yunha did something the Kreks had never seen before. This is Squadron 7 leader, she said calmly. My ship is damaged beyond repair, but I can still reach the enemy. Tell my family I did my duty. Yunha aimed her crippled fighter at the Krek ship's reactor section and pushed the throttle to maximum. The fighter accelerated like a missile, too fast for the enemy to stop. She crashed into the reactor core, and the entire dreadnought exploded in a blast that lit up the star system. The Krek's fleet hesitated. In 3,000 years of conquest, no enemy had ever intentionally sacrificed themselves to destroy a Krek ship. They could not understand such behavior, but the humans were just getting started. Captain Daewon's patrol ship Soul's Pride attacked a Krek's cruiser by ramming it at full speed. The smaller human ship punched completely through the alien vessel, destroying both ships but saving a Vallani transport carrying 5,000 civilians. The humans fight like legends, Boram said in amazement. Like death itself has come to protect us. Admiral Do Hyun's flagship arrived with the main battle group. The massive dreadnought Eternal Soul was the largest ship in the human fleet, bristling with weapons and armor. It opened fire on the Krek's command vessel, overwhelming its defenses with pure firepower. The battle turned into a rout. The Krek ships, designed for easy victories against weak opponents, could not handle human military doctrine. Human ships were built to survive damage and keep fighting. Human crews were trained to never surrender, never retreat, and never leave civilians unprotected. One by one, the Krek's dreadnoughts fell. Some tried to escape, but human fighters hunted them down. Others attempted to surrender, but the humans had seen the burning evacuation ships. There would be no mercy for those who killed civilians. In 2 hours, the great Krek's fleet was destroyed. 50 massive warships reduced to wreckage and debris. The survivors fled in small ships, carrying word of the disaster back to their empire. Communications officer Minseo established clear contact with the Vallani fleet. Commander Boram appeared on screen again, but this time her crystalline features showed wonder instead of fear. "I do not understand," she said. "You came from across the galaxy to save people you have never met. Why would you do such a thing?" Captain Wu Jin thought about how to answer. Finally, he said, "Because it was the right thing to do. Because you asked for help. Because no one should die alone in the darkness." Boram was quiet for a long moment. "In our legends, we speak of guardian spirits who watch over the innocent. We thought they were just stories. But you are real. You are here." Dr. Eugène's science ship arrived to begin first contact procedures, but the contact had already been made in the most human way possible, through violence in defense of the helpless. The Vellani evacuation fleet was safe. The immediate threat was over. But both species knew this was only the beginning. Somewhere in the depths of space, the Krex Empire was learning about humanity for the first time, and they were very, very afraid. 3 weeks after the first battle, the Krex Empire struck back with everything they had. Admiral Do-hyun stood in the command center of his flagship and watched enemy contacts appear on the tactical display. Hundreds of ships, the entire 7th Conquest Fleet, the pride of the Krex military. "Admiral, we count 400 enemy vessels," reported the tactical officer. "Dreadnoughts, battlecruisers, and escort ships. This is 10 times larger than their first attack." Do-hyun studied the formation. The Krex had learned from their defeat. Their ships stayed in tight groups, protecting each other. They advanced slowly and carefully. "They are not taking any chances this time," he said. "They want to crush us completely." Dr. Eugène's voice came over the communication system from the research vessel. "Admiral, the Vellani are terrified. They have never seen a Krex fleet this large. Commander Boram says this is enough firepower to destroy 100 worlds." Do-hyun nodded grimly. The human fleet had grown since the first battle, but they still only had 80 ships. The odds were 5 to 1 against them. "Signal the fleet," Do-hyun ordered. "Prepare for Protocol Deathworld." His communications officer looked surprised. "Sir, are you sure? Those weapons have never been tested in real combat. The Krex want to see what a Deathworld species can do," Do-hyun replied. "Let us show them." Protocol Deathworld was humanity's most secret military doctrine. For centuries, human military planners had designed weapons and tactics too dangerous to use against other humans. They were created for fighting alien threats that might not follow human rules of war. The first element was the ground assault. Marine Colonel Jae Sung led 10,000 human soldiers to the surface of Corvin Prime, a Krex-occupied world. The planet was a fortress, defended by 50,000 Krex warriors who had never lost a battle. The Krex were reptilian creatures, larger and stronger than humans. Their scales could stop small weapons and their claws could tear through metal. They were born predators, evolved to hunt and kill, but they had never fought humans before. Sergeant Hana crouched behind a fallen building and watched Krex soldiers advance through the ruins of a Vellani city. The aliens moved in perfect formation, confident and proud. They had conquered this world in 3 days and slaughtered every civilian they found. "Remember," she whispered to her squad, "these are not people. They are predators who kill children for fun. Show them what real predators look like." The human attack began before dawn. Instead of meeting the Krex in open battle, the humans used guerrilla tactics. They appeared from shadows, struck hard, and vanished before the enemy could respond. Krex soldiers found their patrols disappearing. Sentries were found dead at their posts with no sign of their killers. Supply convoys were destroyed by explosions that seemed to come from nowhere. "The humans fight without honor," complained Krex Commander Vex to his subordinates. "They strike and run like cowards." But the truth was worse than cowardice. Humans were persistence hunters. On Earth, they had hunted animals much larger and stronger by chasing them until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. Now they used the same tactics against the Krex. Sergeant Hana's squad tracked a Krex patrol for 3 days through hostile terrain. The aliens were faster and stronger, but humans could keep going when others gave up. When the Krex finally stopped to rest, the humans attacked. The battle was swift and brutal. Human weapons were designed to penetrate Krex armor. Human tactics were designed to exploit Krex weaknesses. In 10 minutes, the entire patrol was dead. But the strangest moment came when Dr. Chang Min, a human medic, found a wounded Krex soldier still alive. Instead of finishing him off, Chang Min began treating his wounds. "What are you doing?" The Krex warrior gasped in confusion. "My job? Changmin replied simply. I am a doctor. I help injured people, even enemies. The Kreks could not understand this behavior. In their culture, enemies were to be destroyed, not healed. Word of the incident spread through their ranks, creating fear and confusion. How could they fight an enemy who saved their lives even while killing their comrades? Meanwhile, in space, engineer Dongsu worked on a revolutionary project. The Villani had shared their advanced shield technology with the humans. Dongsu was retrofitting human ships with hybrid systems that combined human durability with alien science. The modifications are complete on the first squadron, he reported to Admiral Do Hyun. The ships now have triple armor and energy shields. They should be nearly indestructible. The test came when the Kreks fleet finally attacked. The hybrid human ships advanced into enemy fire, their shields absorbing energy weapons while their armor stopped kinetic attacks. They looked like metal ghosts moving through a storm of destruction. The Kreks fleet poured firepower into the human formation, enough energy to destroy planets. But the human ships kept coming. Their weapons reached out across space, punching holes in Kreks dreadnoughts with surgical precision. Impossible, whispered Kreks fleet commander Zek. Nothing can survive that much firepower, but the humans had learned something important about war. It was not about having the biggest guns or the fastest ships. It was about refusing to give up when others would surrender. Captain Wu Jin's ship Inqian's hammer led the attack. His vessel had been damaged in the first battle but repaired with human stubbornness. Now it bristled with Villani shields and human weapons, a fusion of two different approaches to technology. Target their command ship, Wu Jin ordered. End this quickly. The Kreks command vessel was a massive dreadnought, larger than any human ship. But size meant nothing when the enemy could not be stopped. Human fighters swarmed around it like angry insects, striking from every angle. Squadron leader Min Ho led the fighter attack. His small ship dodged through enemy fire, its hybrid systems keeping him alive when others would have died. He planted explosives on the dreadnought's hull, then escaped before they detonated. The Kreks flagship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up half the star system. With their command structure destroyed, the enemy fleet began to fall apart. But the humans were not finished. They had learned something else about the Kreks Empire. The aliens had enslaved dozens of other species, forcing them to work in mines and factories. Every Kreks world was built on the suffering of conquered peoples. New orders from Earth Command, Do Hyun announced to his fleet. We are no longer just defending the Villani. We are liberating everyone the Kreks have enslaved. The war expanded across dozens of star systems. Human forces attacked Kreks supply lines, freed slave camps, and destroyed military bases. They fought with a fury that amazed even their Villani allies. Why do they fight so hard? Commander Boram asked Dr. Yu Jin during a brief ceasefire. The Villani are safe now. The humans could go home. Dr. Yu Jin watched human soldiers distribute food to freed slaves of a dozen different species, because they have seen what the Kreks do to innocent people, and humans cannot tolerate that. The Kreks tried everything to stop the human advance. They sent assassination squads to kill human commanders. They attacked civilian targets to draw human forces into traps. They even tried to surrender to gain time to regroup. But humans had fought monsters before in their own history. They recognized evil when they saw it, and they would not stop until it was destroyed. The turning point came when intelligence analyst Yerim decoded captured Kreks files. What she found made even hardened soldiers sick to their stomachs. Admiral, she reported with a pale face, the Kreks have detailed records of their conquests. In the last century alone, they have exterminated 47 different species. Billions of innocent beings. They call it the Great Cleansing. Admiral Do Hyun stared at the data with growing anger. Entire civilizations wiped out for the crime of existing. Children killed for sport. Art and culture destroyed just to cause pain. Signal all ships, he said quietly. The gloves are off. No more mercy. No more restraint. We end this empire once and for all. The war had begun to save the Villani. Now it had become something larger. A campaign to free an entire galaxy from thousands of years of oppression. The Kreks Empire made its final fatal mistake when Supreme Commander Nex issued Order Omega. Every Villani civilian in Kreks territory was to be executed immediately. If the Empire was going to fall, they would take their enemies with them. The order went out across 100 star systems. Kreks soldiers began herding Villani refugees into camps. Execution squads prepared for the largest mass murder in galactic history. But the humans were listening. Admiral Kyung-ho received the intercepted communications in his flagship command center. His face went white as the translator decoded the alien orders. Around him, his staff stood in stunned silence. "How many civilians?" he asked quietly. Intelligence Officer Jun-ho checked his displays with shaking hands. 15 million Villani across 43 worlds, sir. The executions begin in 6 hours. Kyung-ho closed his eyes. 15 million innocent people. Men, women, children, all marked for death because they had dared to ask for help. "Signal the fleet," he said. "Full military authorization. Use any and all means necessary to stop this. I do not care about our casualties. I do not care about the cost. Those civilians will not die on my watch." Across human space, a transformation began. This was no longer a rescue mission or even a war of liberation. This was an extermination campaign against a species that had chosen to become monsters. Captain Su-young received her orders aboard the stealth destroyer Ghost of Busan. Her ship was invisible to most sensors. Designed for special operations behind enemy lines, she had been hunting Krex commanders for weeks, eliminating their leadership one by one. "New target list," her intelligence officer reported. "Every Krex officer involved in the genocide order." "Priority Alpha," Su-young smiled coldly. "Finally. No more playing games. Hunt them all." The Ghost of Busan slipped through Krex space like a shadow of death. Human stealth technology was beyond anything the aliens had imagined. The ship could appear right next to enemy vessels without being detected. Commander Vex was planning the execution of 50,000 Villani prisoners when his flagship simply exploded. No warning, no attack detected, just sudden death from the darkness. His entire staff died with him, their plans burning in the wreckage. Across the Empire, Krex commanders began dying. Some were killed by missile strikes that appeared from empty space. Others died when their ships suffered mysterious system failures. A few were found dead in their quarters with no sign of how the killer had entered or escaped. Terror spread through the Krex military leadership. They had never faced an enemy that could strike anywhere, anytime, without warning. For the first time in their species' history, the predators became prey. Meanwhile, Admiral Jinwoo led the 2nd Expeditionary Fleet in a direct assault on Krex core worlds. His orders were simple: destroy everything military and let nothing escape. The Krex tried to flee to their heavily defended home systems, but found their path blocked by human warships. Jinwoo had positioned his fleet in a perfect trap, using asteroid fields and nebulae to channel the enemy into killing zones. "They are trying to run," reported his tactical officer. 60 ships breaking formation and heading for the jump point. "Let them go," Jinwoo ordered. "Then follow them home." The fleeing Krex ships led the humans directly to their core worlds, heavily populated planets protected by massive defense networks. The aliens thought they were safe behind their shields and fortresses. They were wrong. Human orbital bombardment doctrine had been developed for use against asteroid fortresses and underground bunkers. The Krex had never seen weapons designed to crack planets open like eggs. The first bombardment struck the Krex military headquarters on their capital world. Kinetic shells moving at near light speed punched through planetary shields as if they were paper. The impact created earthquakes that shattered mountains and boiled seas. "This is Admiral Jinwoo to all Krex forces," he broadcast on all frequencies. "You have committed genocide against innocent civilians. Your military installations will be destroyed. Your warships will be hunted down. Your empire ends today." But the humans offered something the Krex had never given their enemies: a choice. Any Krex who surrender will be spared. Any Krex who release their prisoners will be protected. Any Krex who refuse will be eliminated. You have 1 hour to decide. The response was immediate. Across the Empire, Krex garrison commanders began surrendering rather than face human retaliation. Slave camps were opened and millions of prisoners were freed. Some Krex units chose to fight to the end. They discovered that humans could be just as merciless as they were, but with better weapons and tactics. Captain Wu Jin led a ground assault on the Krex fortress world of Zekran Prime. The planet was a military stronghold. Heavily defended and considered impregnable, the Krex had boasted that it could hold out for years against any attack. The humans took it in 18 hours. "How is this possible?" gasped the fortress commander, as human soldiers poured through his defenses. "We had 50,000 troops and planetary shields." Marine Colonel Jae Sung looked at the defeated alien with contempt. "You spent 3,000 years fighting people who would not fight back. We are not those people." The colonel was right. Human military doctrine had evolved through centuries of warfare against other humans, creatures just as smart, just as ruthless, and just as determined to survive. The Kreks had grown soft from easy victories against peaceful species. Intelligence analyst Ye Rim made the most important discovery of the war when she cracked the central Kreks database. What she found changed everything. "Admiral," she reported to Kyung-ho with excitement in her voice, "I have the complete records of the Kreks Empire, every conquest, every genocide, every enslaved species. There are survivors hidden throughout their territory." The data was staggering. The Kreks had enslaved over 200 different species across 3 galaxies. Some had been reduced to small populations hiding on remote worlds. Others worked as slaves in mines and factories, forgotten by the rest of the universe. "Change of mission," Kyung-ho announced to the combined human fleets. "We are not just defeating the Kreks Empire. We are liberating everyone they have ever conquered." The war exploded across half the known galaxy. Human task forces struck at slave worlds, freeing populations that had been captive for centuries. Each liberated species provided more intelligence about Kreks operations, leading to more targets and more rescues. The Zephyrians had been enslaved for 500 years, forced to work in toxic mines that slowly killed them. When human marines smashed down the gates of their prison camps, the crystalline beings wept tears of joy. The Mokari had been hunted nearly to extinction for their beautiful feathers, which the Kreks used for decoration. Human ships found the last few thousand survivors hiding in the ruins of their homeworld and brought them to safety. The Talons were amphibious beings whose water worlds had been poisoned by Kreks industrial waste. Human engineers worked around the clock to clean their oceans and restore their ecosystems. Each rescue mission revealed new horrors and new victims. The humans began to understand the true scope of Kreks' evil. This was not just an empire. It was a machine designed to cause suffering on an unimaginable scale. But the Kreks had made one crucial error. They had never faced an enemy that got stronger with each battle, that learned from every defeat, that refused to give up no matter the cost. Humans had evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day. They had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters that would have destroyed other species. They had learned to work together when facing extinction. Now they brought that same determination to the stars. The Kreks Empire had ruled through fear for millennia. But fear only worked when the victims believed they were helpless. The humans had taught the galaxy something new. That bullies could be stopped, that evil could be defeated, and that no one had to suffer alone in the darkness. The age of Kreks domination was ending. The age of human protection had begun.